$1,000 in free play every month all year long. Just play your favorite games and you might take the stage in the It's Your Year game show. 25 winners each Thursday. There's $300,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs this January. Yeah, we think it's your year. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old to play.
You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee, a Good Karma Brands radio station. It's time for the best 60 minutes of your life. This is the Homer Hour, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee, alongside former Packer Bryan Bulaga. Here's Emmy Award winner Homer.
The best 60 minutes of your day, and a quick 60 minutes, too, because not only Bryan Bulaga, but then I get the rest as he'll talk with Jason Wilde, and because there is no show tomorrow with Marquette basketball, Fat Jack will be on in the final few minutes, so Bryan Bulaga gets to do what I do when he's on with Jason Wilde, and that is just listen. I was listening to your chat a few minutes ago, bringing back. I don't. There's no way that's not the worst loss in your football history. Now there may be something in high school or the college, but I'm assuming that this, of course, would be the Packers' loss to Seattle, which it's just hard to believe. Even if you were trying to lose, it would be hard to do all those things that were necessary for the Packers to lose. I mean, everything had to go wrong, and you mentioned a few of them. But so one, am I right? That's the worst loss of your football career. If not, I want to know which one was.
No, hands down, that was
right.
That was the worst one, hands down.
And two, the question I ask everyone about bad things, and I said, what they could have didn't they ran out of trying to get somebody who survived the Titanic. And just how bad was it? I'm always curious. The one thing, because you can't remember 20 things about the game, one thing I believe always stands out, even in this game where there may have been 7 things. There's one thing that's the hardest to accept, or having listened to you, if it was me, the hardest thing would have been the realization that if Aaron Rodgers hadn't been hurt, there was no way you lose that game. But that doesn't mean that you would have that as at the top of your list.
I don't know if it would be the top, because I think Aaron having the calf issue, I mean, it was we thought about it more in the week before against Dallas, because the week before against Dallas, we were told in our meetings and kind of the thought process was, hey, he can't move. He's staying in the pocket, and you have to protect, and he's going to need 4, maybe 5 seconds. And that was the mentality. Like, he's not moving. So just letting you know now, Dallas, they were very active up front. A lot of stunts and twists and pressures. You have to hold up, and you're going to have to make sure that he's clean back there. And that was the mentality. And for the most part, we did really well that game and gave him a lot of time. Now, that wasn't as much the thought going into Seattle, even though we knew there's no way his calf got better in, 6 days. We knew it wasn't better. And we knew he wasn't going to be mobile and able to run and as much as he normally was that season. But there were obviously opportunities in that game, and I mentioned them a little bit, but in that last drive, that there was open space that any given, time throughout the regular season, that if he was okay, he would have taken it and gotten major yardage, because if it's there, he always took it. And he just wasn't able to. And you know what? Like that's the way it goes. But the thing is, in that drive, he completed perfect passes and worked us down the field and kept the drive going and got us in the field goal range. So you can't fault him for anything he did. I mean, he had limitations and he played to them, and he executed the drive. I think the thing that stood out to me and that I won't forget, that I always remember, I think it was the first or second drive. We went down and got down to the 1 or 2 yard line, and we did not score a touchdown. We went for it, and we did not score. I think we went for it on 4th down. We had four cracks at it, or maybe we kicked a field goal. I forgot. And we didn't get it. And that, to me, stuck out because I felt if we would have gotten a touchdown early in that ball game, like we were up 16 or whatever it was, but if we would have added, another 4 to that, and it would have been 21 or 20, whatever it ended up being, it would have really, put the pressure even more so on Seattle, and we weren't able to get down. Because if you look at the end of the game, I mean, we tied it by a field goal, and if we would have added another 4 to that early on in the game, we're not even talking about it. So that to me always stands out as one thing. Not as much Aaron with his calf, because Aaron played a good game, and it's just one of those things. Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs, tons of what ifs, and what could have and what should have, and it's hard to pinpoint one, but at the end of the day, man, definitely the hardest one that I've dealt with.
But on the other hand, this is another thing I would be. I'm in the club. I got a ring. I won a Super Bowl, and you'd like to have more than one, but the difference between 0 and 1 is like the difference between Rhode Island and California, and the difference between 1 and 2 is like the difference between L.A. and San Francisco. I mean, there's.
Yeah. No,
I mean, I think of great players, and Charles Bryan, and the great players that never won, and
I'm with you. Believe me, I'm with you. I totally get it, and I'm not the one that like looks back on my career and is bitter and mad. Like I look at it from like how many great players I've played with, and got the chance to play with, and guys that are Hall of Famers and Packer Hall of Famers and shared the field with, that like it's hard to think that like we only played in one Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
I would say I like to say if I were Brian Bulaga, I'd have a college degree. But if I were Brian Bulaga, I would feel like we should have won 3. But that's like, I got 1. If you don't have 1, it's just so hard. And if we should have won more. I got $1 million in the bank, and I should have 3. You're good. You're good. So, and I will say this as a reporter, that's all I needed. I will never forget the experience in New Orleans after the Packers won and being in the locker room and just observing players. And it wasn't like they were crazy. It was all you could feel, the appreciation that we're the best in the world. There's no one better than us. I don't know if that day you win it, you think, I'm in the club now, but it was, I watched them more than I had questions, because I felt like I was seeing a joy that, I mean, they're going to say their marriage and their kids are more important. Everybody always does. But a joy that they realize, and that feeling right after the game has to be just incredible. I don't know if you would agree with that's the way it was. People weren't screaming and yelling. They were all just almost like mesmerized or just. Go ahead.
That's what it felt like. Like, and the thing was, like, I was a rookie, and I still felt that way. And like, when it's on the field and those celebrations are going on, obviously there's a lot happening, right? But when you finally get back into that locker room, like you talked about, like when you're finally back in the locker room with everyone, it is the craziest thing, because everyone's happy, but like you said, there's not screaming and yelling.
No, and I bet you can look at some of the veterans. You're thinking of observing people that have been in the league, whatever, and that it finally happened, and what it felt like. And I mean, I could just see you watching other people and thinking of, this is the one person I remember, and I just had so much happiness for him, knowing how long he played and that they'd finally done it.
Yeah, I mean, in the locker room, 75 was right next to 76, Chad Clifton. So I sat next to Chad every game. Like my locker was right next to his. So like when I got back to the locker room, I was right next to Chad. So I got to be right by him and I got to experience what he was going through and how he was living the moment and like everything that he's gone through in his career and everything he fought through to get, you know what I mean? And I got to see how he reacted. And then obviously Charles, hurting, I think it was his collarbone in that game. And there he is, across the locker room in a sling, celebrating and doing everything that he was doing over there. Like, it was just like surreal. And the drivers over there, it was just like a really cool, like, atmosphere that like you can't really explain. Like you said, it wasn't like screaming and yelling and
not like baseball where you see the champagne and all that stuff because it's not done there. And go ahead.
That wasn't it. It was just more of like you could hear everybody talking. Like, and it was really weird. Like you could hear everyone's conversation. Like it was very tame, but you could hear the excitement, and it just it was a surreal, it felt like we were in the locker room for hours and hours and hours.
And then Aaron Rodgers, this is another one of those things where I wish I interviewed him because I'd have said, this is just crap. You can say whatever you want. That's just crap. Where he said like, well, an hour or two later, he thought, I thought it would feel better than this. And they're like, well, no, then you're not human. I don't know what you are, but I mean, that's what I would ask him. Well, what are you, an alien? I mean, or you thought you were going to win 10, so it was no big deal, or that you're you're incapable of looking around the locker room and seeing and feeling, even if it meant nothing to you, to see what Charles Woodson looked like and all the other players, and the fact that you, Aaron Rodgers, created this joy for so many people that supposedly you cared about because they're teammates. All of them, or many of them, are looking and going, we ain't winning without that dude, right? We owe that dude more than anybody else, and they don't have to say it. You can feel it. And to say, I was disappointed that I didn't feel any different to it. That's just, if that's the truth, you're not human. You're just you're a alien or whatever.
Unfortunately, and this is what he said in his Netflix thing. I watched it, and what he feels is what he feels. The one thing I will say about his experience, it was not like mine, and it was not like anyone else's. I never saw him after that game. So what he experienced after was not like what everyone else had. So like for him to say, I thought I would feel different, or it wasn't what I thought, is because he didn't get the same experience. And I get it. He's the MVP. He's the quarterback.
Yeah, but he's got to know. And he's like, these are friends. These are teammates. I don't have to be with them to know the joy that I created for all these people.
But he was talking about himself, not everyone else.
Yeah, but that's part of you. Unless you're an alien. Come on. Did you not feel great for your part when you meet Cliff? You're talking about Cliff. These other guys, and it's not like you were that, but to be a part of what was created, and they needed you. These veterans needed you in order to get this great joy. I refuse to believe that doesn't cross Aaron Rodgers' mind. I'm sorry. He doesn't bring it up. He doesn't mention that. He didn't say, I was somewhere else. Brian Bulaga's right. I wasn't around then. But to not.
He's not going to say
that. Well, if he listens to this show, he probably should. He should listen to you. That he wouldn't say, I can't. This is why I want to interview him. I can't look at him and go, well, it's not possible. You just made that stuff up because this is how you want people to think of you. I'm not going to buy it. Come on.
No, and
you said he was a great teammate, right? And I believe that he's a great teammate because you've seen him care about all the people he plays with.
Yes.
So 100%. Now I win the Super Bowl, and it never crosses my mind of all this happiness that I've created. And we know he's going to give himself most of the credit because he likes to be accurate, and it's accurate.
Yeah, listen, like, why he felt that way, I got no idea, right? Like,
we're in that club together.
And I can assure you this, that has not been a conversation he and I have had. So, like, that's my first time hearing him say that. We'll just put it that way, because, like, I did not know that. And
it surprised you to hear that, I believe.
Yes, it did.
Okay, all right.
It did. It surprised me to hear that, because, and kind of like I said, I never saw him, like, at the post party, and I never saw him. So, like, yeah, that surprises me to hear that. And I obviously I know he had a bunch of different obligations after the Super Bowl that he had to do, but, like, yeah, I mean, and you know what? Like, that's the part of me too that wishes we did go back to another one and win another one, because he was older, more mature, a more veteran guy in the league. He understood what came with it. He probably would have had a better grip on what comes with it, and that experience would have been different for him, right?
And like, how hard it is, an appreciation of how hard it is.
Yes, and like that's the one thing that, you know, I think when he says that, that's what I look back on it and you know, like, and I'm not trying to make excuses for anyone, but like, that's just my point of view, because I know how much he cares about guys and his teammates. But again, what he said, he and I never spoke about that, so I can't say why he said that or why he felt that way.
Yeah. Well, and it'd be easy for me to say, if I wanted to, that's just because he's a jerk, and he proved that he's a jerk. But I know he's not. I know he's a good teammate, so I'm incapable of. I mean, here's what I thought Aaron Rodgers would have said. It was weird because I didn't get to see all these people, but I didn't have to see them to know the feeling they had, and for me to feel like I was a part of creating that incredible joy. I don't have to be there to feel it and think about it with all these people that I've known as my friends on the team. But anyway, I'm not. I can move on. I have a list of the things he said, which I'd go, crap, I'm sorry. You can't say that and get away with it unless you can explain more than you've explained. Travel fans, listen up, explore the many shades of Ireland with Colette Vacations and me and my wife. They've told me that'll help. On August the 9th, we're heading off on an unbelievable journey, explore the historic city of Dublin, kiss the famous Blarney Stone, stand on the spectacular cliffs of Moher, visit an Irish dairy farm, taste or two at the historic whiskey distillery, and stay in a medieval castle. Visit ESPNMilwaukeeTravel.com, ESPNMilwaukeeTravel.com for info, or get all the details on Sunday, February the 2nd, as the wonderful Colette team will have all the information. I'll be there. I've been told I should bring my wife. Maddie's Bar and Grill in New Berlin, 5 o'clock on that Sunday, February 2nd, Sunday. Maddie's Bar and Grill in New Berlin at 5 if you have any questions. I get to rest because Jason Wilde and Bryan Bulaga are next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN.
Southbound on 43 still dealing with delays from North Avenue all the way down through the Marquette, all the way to about Lincoln. The northbound side, just a little bit slow right around the North Avenue curve. Westbound 94 heavy from 25th Street all the way to Hawley Road. Eastbound's got some backups basically from Barker Road to almost Calhoun. Back on the brakes from 84th Street through the Stadium interchange at 35th. And southbound 894 backing up from National Avenue down into the Hale. There is an accident there on the left shoulder on the ramp to get onto the Rock Freeway to go southbound. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, clear and cold, a low of 4 above with a wind chill of 0 to 5 below. Tomorrow, increasing clouds, slight chance for an afternoon flurry, a high of 20. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
With Wilde and Tausch, you won't miss a play.
Romeo. This 3-syllable, you have to take the O out of the equation. That's too easy.
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Iota, right? Not one iota.
Iota. Yeah. That's only 4 letters.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
Let's pretend you're a first-time listener to Wilde and Tausch. What the hell is this? They're discussing syllables.
On 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center is hosting another Scramble tournament with $750 in cash prizes available. Hey ESPN Milwaukee, this is Gary Ellison, and Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center invites you to play in a two-man scramble at Pebble Beach, all from their comfortable golf simulators. Grab a friend and sign up today at wisconsindoorgolfcenter.com. The tournament costs $120 per pairing and is happening now through January 31st. Your winter chance to play Pebble Beach awaits. wisconsindoorgolfcenter.com.
Bring in the new year at your local Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis Auto Group dealerships. If it's the new year, it's time for a new ride. So plan on driving into 2025 in style at a Kunis Auto Group dealership near you. Your Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis dealerships feature America's best-selling brands from both Buick and GMC, all at nearby locations in Oak Creek and Greenfield. During January, every remaining new 2024 vehicle plus thousands of select pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs are all being discount priced to sell. We've got to make immediate room for hundreds of incoming new 2025s, as well as hundreds of fresh trade-ins from the holiday season. We're paying top values on all trades, no matter what the mileage or condition. Don't forget to check out individual dealership websites for pre-owned vehicles super specials. Plus, January service specials on everything from oil changes, tires, and brakes. Ring in big New Year savings at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis Auto Group dealerships, or shop online at shopkunis.com.
Whether you are a local who wants to enjoy a night out or you're planning to visit our great city of Milwaukee, enjoy an artfully stylish experience at St. Kate the Arts Hotel. Hey, maybe you got friends coming in from out of town. St. Kate the Arts Hotel is ideally located in the heart of the theater district in downtown Milwaukee. With deluxe accommodations, culinary creativity, on-site art galleries, and nightly live music, you and your friends will enjoy every element of your stay at St. Kate. Learn more and book your stay at stkatearts.com. That's stkatearts.com.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
This is the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN. It's time for Jason Wilde on the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Yes, you go to WisconsinOnDemand.com, you hit the button, Jason Wilde, and you will get everything he said on all the different shows. You'll be amazed more than anything else. Like, is he on every show? Nah, but it's close. This is the best part of the show for me because I just get to listen until you both answer this question, which is the Discount Liquor Twitter poll question. With Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, how many Super Bowls should the Packers have won? 2, 3, 4, or 5? I vote 4, but I am curious as to Bryan?
I'm gonna say 4. I'll say 4. Yeah.
All right, Jason. Yeah, Jason.
Well, first of all, I think I am on every show.
I stand corrected. Jason Wilde is on every show, and you can discover that by going to WisconsinOnDemand.com and hit the button in the box that says Jason Wilde. Okay.
I mean, not every show every day, but yeah. Well, I mean, we're sticklers for accuracy around here. That's what we do.
Yep.
So I think the 14 team should have won a title.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always fascinated by that postseason, by the way, because it was just like intensifying heartbreak for every team in the NFC that moved on, right? There was heartbreak for Detroit that lost on a last-second play in some form or fashion to the Cowboys. Then, obviously, the Packers beat the Cowboys on the Dez caught it. He didn't catch it play. Then we don't need to revisit for poor Bryan all the things that went awry in that NFC Championship game. And then, if you remember, that Super Bowl was the one where the Seahawks are on the doorstep of the 1-yard line, and instead of giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch to go win the game, I was calling him Marshawn Lloyd, which is what I was worried about calling Marshawn Lloyd Marshawn Lynch. Instead, Russell throws the pick at the goal line.
Classic
so,
fart in the
heartbreak
wind.
city. Yeah. So 14 for sure. And then obviously we all agree, even though some young 24-year-old smart aleck second-year beat writer dared to say on the bus to Qualcomm Stadium, I don't see any way the Packers lose this game. And what a moron I was then as they lost to a 12.5-point underdog in the Denver Broncos. So, yes, 4, in my opinion, is the correct answer. And maybe you could argue 5, only because Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went and won that title. And I still believe that if either of these things had been the case, either they have David Bakhtiari at left tackle or they have a full Lambeau Field for that NFC Championship game, that the Packers win it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bryan, you can now take over with Jason Wilde. You choose to ask him how he's doing or not. That's your.
Why does it have you? Why does it? We gotta talk. You don't have. Hi, Bryan. Great to be with you.
You as well. It sounds like you're doing great, so I don't think I need to ask that. It sounds like you're doing
I'm great. You know.
So I wanted to get just your opinion on what Ben Johnson had to say in that presser. It's certainly a way to start off your tenure as a head coach. He's certainly not taking after his head coach that he worked under, Dan Campbell, and how Dan Campbell started his reign out in Detroit. Dan Campbell started out Detroit very humble. He's going the opposite way with it and taking shots at division rivals. How do you look at how he kind of started that out, taking shots at LaFleur and the Packers?
Yeah, I don't understand it. And the part that I don't understand is the personal zinger intended for LaFleur, right? I mean, look, I know that it's not very nice, but have I given you a little bit of grief from time to time about the Fail Mary game and how much you struggled against Bruce Irvin? Yes, I have. Now, I would like to think that we are friends. We don't see eye to eye on everything, but our friendship is such that, you could have given me grief about some of the horrible questions I asked you over the years, but we got a great relationship, and so we rib each other a little bit, right? Maybe, do I take it too far sometimes? I'll let you be the judge. But the bottom line is that we are teammates, friends, and when I give you some good-natured grief, the key word there is that we're friends, which makes it good-natured. These two guys don't even know each other.
Yeah.
Like, I saw Peter Schrager talking about it this morning on NFL Network on Good Morning Football, and that to me, like, I was saying this earlier to KBN, like, if this had been Sean McVay heading into a playoff game against the Packers and him saying, well, I never get tired of beating Matt. Like, first of all, it wouldn't be accurate either because I think Matt's had Sean McVay's number, if I recall correctly. I don't know if he's beaten LaFleur yet as LaFleur is the head coach of the Packers. But they're brothers. They as close as Matt is to his actual brother, Mike LaFleur, he is just as close with Sean McVay. So you know where that comes from. Like this, and in this instance, like, here's the other part. He's not Aaron Glenn. Like, Matt LaFleur calls the offensive plays for the Packers offense. If Aaron Glenn took the Bears job instead of the Jets job and had said, I never get tired of shutting down Matt LaFleur's offense, at least that would have made more sense. So I just thought it was. I'm surprised he didn't pull a muscle because it was such a reach to try and come up with that. But again, my understanding from my Bears beat writer colleagues is that he came off pretty well in the presser, that he did pretty well for himself. For those of us that obviously focus on the Packers, it didn't, like, I don't think it should bother Packers fans. If it wants to become bulletin board fodder for Matt LaFleur. That's fine, right? But I think Matt LaFleur is looking at the guy going, what's with this clown? Like, it wasn't even like I've seen some Packers fans say, well, that's what the Bears, all these Bears coaches do when they get the job. It's a prerequisite that they get up there and say something derogatory about the Packers. Yeah, but they don't personalize it. Like,
no,
Mark Trestman didn't get up there and go, I can't wait to beat Mike McCarthy. Like, it was just weird. So, again, I don't know him at all. I haven't covered him. I don't know what his kind of, mentality is in terms of what his sense of humor is. But he did, and to your point, which I think is the more important point, frankly, than what he said about Matt LaFleur point, it is he did come in with some bravado now. Like, he was talking big, about the sleeping giant he's taken over and this and that. And again, I think there was probably had he called me for advice, first of all, I would have been happy to help because, I like to help people, Brian. But the first thing I would have said was, look, you're going to feel like you got to say something about the Packers. My advice to you would be to take a page out of Lovie Smith's book. And way back when, you were probably still in, you probably weren't even in high school yet when Lovie Smith got hired by the Bears. But, like, he said our first priority is to beat the Packers. And that made a lot of headlines. But I was telling the story earlier today on our show. Like, I then asked years later, 3-4 years later, because he had success against the Packers, by the way, and I asked Lovie Smith about that, and he said, here's how I looked at it. The Packers were the big kid on the block. They were the ones we were going to have to beat in order to win the division. And then he went into basically what Mike McCarthy used to say to you guys about the division. Hey, the first goal is to win the division. Why? A, it gets you in the playoffs. You now have a playoff berth. B, you have a home game in the playoffs. Now you set your mind on the next goal, which is earn a bye week and then have another chance at a home game in the divisional round, right? So his philosophy was, it was fodder for Bears fans to get excited about, but more importantly, we had to beat the Packers if we wanted to get to where we wanted to go. And by the way, in 2006, when I think you would have been in high school, they did go to the Super Bowl with Lovie Smith, and they did it with Rex Grossman at quarterback. So I would have told Ben Johnson, hey, you want to take a shot at the Packers? You want to get some juice going? Fine, but take a page out of Lovie Smith's book because I think Lovie Smith did it the right way.
I agree. So, moving on from that.
Well, wait a minute. Real quick, Brian, because I know you've still got a lot of friends back in Chicagoland. Did they like it? Like your buddies from your hometown?
Yeah. Well, talking to my buddies today, they thought he was a little bit like you kind of said, a little bit nerdy, but the overall message that they liked the smack talking LaFleur and the Packers. They liked it. They get riled up. Anything about trashing the Packers, they're all in, right? Like, and the problem that they're all in on is it's never been about like doing well is the problem, right? Like, it's never been about winning and having a winning record. It's all about beating Green Bay, and that's been their mentality forever is just beating Green Bay, not actually having a winning season. So they're all in on it, right? Like, that's all they took from what he said, right? Which is mind-blowing to me, but it's okay. You know what I mean? I'm just like, all right. Like, yes, he had good offenses in Detroit. Yes, he did, but this isn't Detroit, and that's not the same personnel, and that's not the same team. And we'll just start right there, right? So you can have that confidence, but when you come in there for OTAs, that's not the same roster that's walking through the doors that walked through the doors in Detroit. So that's the nature of the beast. But hey, we'll see how it goes. That is what it is. I mean, if I'm a player in Green Bay, right, and I said this on KBN, if I'm a player in Green Bay and he says that, right, and I enjoy beating LaFleur twice a year, that's not really saying he enjoys beating LaFleur twice a year. I look at that as he enjoys beating me twice a year. I look at that a little bit more personally, that he, for the last few years, a year ago, he only got us, it would be the Packers once.
Right.
But the last year, he beat me twice, and that's who he's taking a shot at. It's not really LaFleur, even though Matt's the head coach, and he's not going to call out, players individually, but he's taking a shot at, obviously, Matt, but the players are directly involved. They're the ones on the field. So that would, me as a player, I'd be a little fired up about that. I mean, I wouldn't take too kindly to that. So, no, I don't think that fuels your off-season workouts, but it's certainly something. It's certainly something to, remember. I'll just put it that way. You certainly remember that as you get into the season, or I'll leave it at that.
By the way, you guys were outstanding. We've run out of time. Any last comment either of you want to? I think their new coach looks a lot like Len Casper, who's the he used to work with me and was the voice of the he's now the voice of the White Sox on radio. Check it out.
He's got an even worse job than being the head coach of the Bears.
Nice.
Oh, come on.
That's good. That's very good. That's much better than that carries a lot better weight than what the head coach of the Bears did. Yeah.
And Len is a great play-by-play guy who paid his dues for a really long time here. So I want to be clear. Unlike Matt LaFleur and Ben Johnson, Len is a buddy of mine, and I meant that in the most joking sense, not certainly the way Ben Johnson apparently meant his line for Matt
I started his career. The first job he ever had in the media was my producer.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't know that.
As a student at Marquette,
And he succeeded anyway.
That's correct. That's fine. He said, I want to be Ernie Harwell. And I said, you will. It wasn't really hard to predict his success, but that was his dream, and he achieved his dream.
Cat.
All right, thanks, Jason.
No doubt about it. All right, guys, take care. Be good.
Jason Wilde, all Packers all the time. What a segment that is. Bryan Bulaga and Jason Wilde. Dr. Aaron Holtebeck, I went and met with his team at their Brookfield office, and the first thing I thought is, this guy gets it. He wants vision care a top priority with the latest technologies at their state-of-the-art office for people with whatever the condition, at whatever the age and whatever the condition, take care of it. So he's been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years, and he said we need to be even better, so he added a new doctor, Dr. Nausheen Abbas, to take care of even other issues better than they have. Don't mess with your vision, whatever the age, whatever the issue. Trust the experts from Holtebeck Eye Center in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com. I got to try to be Jason Wilde. Next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up on ESPN Wisconsin. Join Homer on the trip of a lifetime to see the many shades of Ireland in August. Text Homer to 800-990-3776 for info.
We do have backups on 43 southbound from about North Avenue down through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge down towards Lincoln. On the northbound side, a little heavy from Fond du Lac Avenue up past North. Westbound 94, heavy from 16th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. A little bit heavier again past Calhoun towards Barker Road. And then on the eastbound side, we've got backups from 92nd Street all the way to 35th. Southbound on 41, you're watching for delays from just south of Appleton Avenue all the way down past Capitol Drive, with the northbound side slowing down from Mayfair Road up past Burleigh. Traffic is brought to you by the Neal Group. They know how to minimize your taxes to keep more money in your pocket. Visit nealgroup.net to learn more. That's nealgroup.net. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, clear and cold, a low of 4 above with a wind chill of 0 to 5 below. And tomorrow, increasing clouds, slight chance for afternoon flurries, a high of 20. Weather is brought to you by Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center in Waukesha. Join their 2-man scramble tournament and play Pebble Beach for a chance to win cash through the 31st. Sign up at wisconsinindoorgolfcenter.com. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Kevin Moret for Mentality. Guys, carrying extra belly fat can make you feel frustrated and self-conscious. And let's face it, it changes how others see you. Most new Mentality clients start at only 1/3 of the free testosterone they need, which makes losing that stubborn fat a real struggle. Our doctors specialize in restoring free testosterone and combining it with semaglutide, which targets fat while keeping your muscle. Feel confident in your look again. Visit mentalityhealth.com/radio for a New Year offer and get started today. That's mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman, here to tell you about my friends at Bank 5-9. Everywhere I go throughout the area, I see Bank 5-9, and it's no wonder why. Not only do they have 14 branch locations, but their employees spend nearly 9,000 hours each year volunteering in the communities that they serve. That's on top of the financial support that they provide to several hundred nonprofits right here in southeastern Wisconsin. If you're looking for a true local community bank, check them out today at bank59.com. Member FDIC.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Homer here. I'm inviting you to join me starting August the 9th, as we explore the many shades of Ireland with Colette Vacations. A 10-day journey filled with legendary views, historic expeditions, and unforgettable tales. Explore the historic city of Dublin, kiss the famous Blarney Stone, and stand on the spectacular cliffs of Moher. We'll also journey Ireland's breathtaking countryside and follow the stunning coastal route of the Ring of Kerry. We'll experience the daily life of an Irish family with a dairy farm visit, and even enjoy a taste or two at a historic whiskey distillery. Plus, there's a stay overnight at a medieval castle. Join me for all of these experiences and many more. Visit ESPNMilwaukeeTravel.com for trip information or come to Maddie's Bar and Grill in New Berlin on February the 2nd to meet me and the Colette team. Colette handles all the details of the 10-day excursion, the flights, the meals, the hotels, the experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss out. Learn all about it on February 2nd at 5 p.m. in New Berlin at Maddie's Bar and Grill.
I'm very familiar with Gruber Law offices because they're always out in the community.
Gruber Law offices are known to be honest, hardworking.
They're always involved in our neighborhoods.
Gruber Law offices make our community a better place.
They are the best. For nearly 40 years, Gruber Law offices has helped people throughout Wisconsin. If you're injured, we're here to help. One call, that's all.
Wisconsin would not be the same without Gruber Law offices.
The Homer Hour is back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
I'll be Jason Wilde in a second. Want to talk about Saganiac Planning. Have for a long time. I used to say Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service. But I didn't do them justice because they've been doing it well for over 50 years. Imagine how good you'd be. You're good the first year, doing it well for over 50 years. And they are the perfect size company to deal and give the best for employee benefits. For example, they're small enough to handle your needs with special attention and large enough to have the clout to make it happen. You have to be large enough so the companies they deal with give respect to them, and they can therefore make sure that they give respect Saganiac Planning does to its clients. So, Saganiac Planning, named synonymous with employee benefits, top-notch service, and over 50 years, and the right size, small enough to handle your needs, and large enough to have the clout to make it happen. Phone number, remember, 783-262-783. Roger Maris, 6161. The Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour. We have Fat Jack coming on later on in a little bit, pretty soon, so we have to cut Bryan a little short because there's no show tomorrow. I did want to ask you about assistant coaches. Like the Packers fired their defensive line coach. I didn't even know who it was. I don't even know how important position coaches are. You got a head coach, you got a coordinator. I know maybe the offensive line coach. Now, each position coach usually has an assistant position coach, like quality control. They're like 100 assistant coaches. So, I'm sorry. The problem with the Packers defensive line, I think the defensive line coach is about as important as the equipment manager, but you can set me straight.
Well, the D-line coach, I think that it just didn't fit because he was the outside linebackers coach in Joe Barry's scheme.
Okay.
So the fit just wasn't happening, right? Like, and kind of.
I'm listening. I'm totally listening to whatever you say.
Yeah, the scheme change just it wasn't meshing. So unfortunately, it just wasn't going to work out. But the assistant coaches are important, right? Because it is how messages get passed along from a position group to the coordinator, and what's working for a group and what's not, and what is kind of, what concerns are, and how can the coordinator address it, right? Like for offensive linemen, it really went from us to the quarterback to the coordinator, and that's how it went. But like our position coach normally took that to the quarterback, the quarterback's coach, or the head coach, or the coordinator, and he kind of did that for us. But a lot of the times, those position coaches, not just the install of the game plan that week, they're also there to help the mental psyche of the player, right? They're throughout the week to get guys mentally ready to play. If they had a bad week before, get them back on track in a good mind space to play. So they play a little psychologist, and they play a little coach, and they do a little bit of everything for guys throughout the season.
So I shouldn't shortchange them. All right. All right, we've got to leave. I want to discuss this more in the future, but we got to leave early with Fat Jack. Sorry, Bryan. If I hadn't had that question, you and Jason would have had more time.
No problem. Tell Fat Jack I said hi. What a fantastic name that is.
That's good. We used to have Slim Jim. We changed to Fat Jack, and that's the truth. All right, travel fans, listen up. Explore the many shades of Ireland. Colette Vacations and me, August the 9th, heading off to an unbelievable journey. Explore the historic city of Dublin. Kiss the famous Blarney Stone. Stand on the spectacular cliffs of Moher. Visit an Irish dairy farm. Enjoy a taste or two at a historic whiskey distillery. Stay in a medieval castle and meet my wife. And yes, I believe she's the luckiest woman alive. You can visit ESPN Milwaukee Travel for info, ESPNMilwaukeeTravel.com, or get the details. Sunday, February 2nd, the wonderful Colette team will be there. I'll be there, and I'm being told I should bring my wife. That'll make the case better for me. Maddie's Bar and Grill in New Berlin, Sunday, 5 p.m. That's February the 2nd. Maddie's Bar in New Berlin at 5 p.m. to get all the info. Fat Jack next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on 94.5 ESPN. What happens when you mix a 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year with a Packers Hall of Famer?
I'm not going to get into the Kringle turnover game, so that's what it needs to be. I think his legs. Yeah.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Like the pastry
Are you guys
turnovers.
being serious? You guys can't put two.
I got it. I did not get it.
They don't call themselves Racine Danish turnovers.
Sorry. Sometimes I wonder about you two, man.
Catch him from 9 to noon right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority. They are your premium provider for eye care and corrective eye surgeries. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. Dr. Nausheen Abbas joined the Holtebeck Eye Center team last September, and her practice philosophy is to provide patient-centered medicine by giving all options. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
Be the MVP of gift giving with a Milwaukee Bucks gift card. From exhilarating Bucks experiences to unforgettable Fiserv Forum events, your gift card recipient can score tickets to Bucks games and other events through the Ticketmaster box office. Shop exclusive gear at the Bucks Pro Shop or get a favorite snack at Fiserv Forum's concessions. It's a win-win gift that lets them choose their experience. To purchase a gift card, visit bucks.com/gift cards.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the basics, blocking and tackling. In retirement, protection and income are the keys to success. Simply put, if you're nearing or in retirement, you can't afford a stock market crash. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game film was a key to success. Now I'm a best-selling author and star in a new groundbreaking documentary film called The Retirement Deception. It unveils how the Wall Street machine has been deceiving us for decades and proves you don't need to risk your nest egg in the market to have the retirement you deserve. This film shows you exactly how to protect your retirement from stock market market drops and produce more income than you thought possible. I want you to watch this film for free. Call today for your free copy of The Retirement Deception. I think you would agree 30 to 40 years of saving for retirement is at least worth a phone call to watch this film and see how you can improve your retirement. Call today to speak with an all-pro retirement specialist to get your free copy of The Retirement Deception. Call 855-620-1801. That's 855-620-1801. MitchLyonsWealth.com. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Looking for the most popular answer. What's the worst thing about Wisconsin winters? Gina Della from Pella.
Finding a sitter when snow closes school. Yay! It's the time of the year when we just want to be all warm and snuggly at home. And Pella helps make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. With inviting doors to let friends and family in and beautiful energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with a sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. Every day, ZipRecruiter helps people who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
A special Thursday edition of Fat Jack, even though we only have a few minutes. Normally he's on Friday, but we have to talk to him because you need Fat Jack more than ever before. All the complexities of gambling have gotten even more. You go to FatJackSports.com. You will win. Fat Jack, I don't know if I want to ask you about the Notre Dame fans. You said it won 11 in a row and probably thought even though they lost the game, they still were going to cover, but the field goal says no. Isn't that why gambling's so hard and they need you?
Well, yeah, it's definitely hard in college. The playoff, it wasn't as hard for the general public because they basically favorites and overs did really well. I did have Ohio State in the final game, minus the points. You say a little bit lucky, but yeah, the favorite had done really well during the playoffs. And in the NFL playoffs, that normally doesn't happen as much as it's happened this year. It's been a very customer-friendly year in football in general. But make no mistake, Homer, if you're betting without knowing how to handicap games, most of the time you're going to lose money. That's why it's very difficult, and there are very few of us that actually make money consistently. So excited about these games, but you're right. Ohio State, a little bit lucky to get there versus the number. Notre Dame, now 11-1 against the number their last 12.
What do you want to tell people? I think that rookie quarterback, and you go against him, I think he's different. I love the points against the Eagles.
Yeah, the problem is you are looking in the face of history and saying, I don't trust, you don't believe what you've done. Daniels, it seems to be a special talent, but Homer, we should start with why are they in the game. They're in the game because Detroit turned the ball over 5 times. They're in the game because Jared Goff threw it to the other team. They're not in the game if he doesn't do that. So are you going to get that same production out of Philadelphia? Are they going to turn it over 3 times? This is a Philly team that doesn't turn the ball over much. I mean, they have 4 turnovers in the last month or so. Jalen Hurts protecting the ball, not doing a lot, but giving it to Saquon Barkley has been enough. And when you talk about rookie quarterbacks, 0-5 straight up in conference championship games and 1-4 against the spread. Wow. So they've had not just little success, but no success straight up. And even against the number, it's been tough. This is also not a good matchup for them. They don't stop the run particularly well. And Jalen Hurts, although has a little bit of a knee issue, isn't being asked to do a lot except turn around, hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley. That's getting it done with what's perceived as the best offensive line in the league and the number 1 defense in the league, especially in the secondary. So we're going to make money this weekend based on an idea on the game. I have a good selection, good opinion on the game, but then also drilling down on some of these player props. I think Daniels is going to have some success as far as his production goes. but I just think it might be playing from behind. So his over total yards, 277 yards. He's averaged 269 total yards per game this year.
That's rushing and passing, right? Isn't that what you're getting to?
Rushing and passing.
Right,
That's
okay.
exactly right. And when they were last time they were a 6-point dog, he had 292 yards in total offense. So I think Daniels is going to be productive. I'm just not so sure that it's competitive enough. If they can't stop the run, they're in trouble. So I think it's mainly playing catch-up. So there's ways to take advantage if you like Daniels to do something without necessarily saying he's going to cover against a great Philly defense.
Yeah, you've changed my mind with those historic numbers. I don't know what to think or ask about Kansas City. They're clearly historic, but that doesn't have anything to do with the gambling part of it, which you study.
Yeah, the difficult thing, and by the way, Homer, we gave away on this segment when I come on with you and around the country, I gave you Buffalo in the first week of September to win the Super Bowl. So a lot of people have that at 16, 17 to 1. So them being in this game, not surprising to me or my clients at all. But the problem becomes with Kansas City, the intangibles, you don't handicap intangibles, all right? You handicap line of scrimmage, turnover margin, player A versus player B, historical trends, those type of things. But with Kansas City, if you throw out the intangibles, you're really doing yourself a disservice because they consistently do things in ways that nobody else gets it done this time of year. I mean, they are not as good as Buffalo top to bottom. Buffalo protects the ball. They don't turn it over. They're running the ball. They play a conservative brand offensively, yet they're still averaging about 30 points a game over the last month and a half. But if you try to take out Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey being able to turn it on when the playoffs start, if you take that out, it will cause you to lose money betting on sports. So I think it's a really tough game. Comes down to the end. Again, there's ways with the player props to take advantage of it, though. Travis Kelsey, I played over his yardage total last week. I'm doing the same thing this week. He's 66 to 70 yards, somewhere in there. He's gone over. He had 117 last week. He has multiple catches each and every week in the playoffs. His playoff run, his posted number as far as yards go, he has gone over that for like 11 straight playoff games. So if there is a light switch that can be flipped, it seems to be flipped with Travis Kelsey specifically. And really what Mahomes and him do, it's hard to equate that, but it just seems to keep happening. So Buffalo is a better team, even on the road, and they took care of business against the same Kansas City team when they played them earlier in the year. But when you're talking about the playoffs, it's a different animal, so I wouldn't go crazy for sure.
Now, I want to emphasize what's changed that you have another way to make money is prop bets, but I haven't said it. I mean, parlays are for idiots. Even with prop bets don't change your approach, right, of how to win at gambling. Am I right there?
Mathematically, parlays are the worst thing you can do in the sports book. It's not about anything more than math, Homer. There's four. If you have two teams that are playing each other, there's four possible outcomes. When you play a two-team parlay, you get paid 2.5 times your money. That's not 4 to 1. And that's if you can pick 50% of the games correct. Mathematically, props do not pay what they should, and it gets worse as you go forward. 3-team, 4-team. They're horrible as far as the math goes. So, yeah, they're fun to hit. They're like the lottery. The people who hit the lottery love it. Everybody else thinks it's a waste of money.
And you're looking at the numbers, the math, and the best numbers for whatever the bet is what gets you to consider it, right? If they're giving you Go ahead.
Yeah, if you could pick more than 50% of the games correct consistently, you'd never play parlays because you know you're going to make money more times than not betting the games. You play parlays because you know you're not any good at sports betting. Change that. Go to FatJackSports.com, get on quality plays, and you don't have to look uphill into that math with the parlay cards.
Thanks for giving us an extra show. You need Fat Jack more than ever before. FatJack.sports, as he said. Thanks, Jack.
Have a good weekend, Homer. See you soon.
Marquette basketball is next.
You do it right. Whatever you do.
We still have an accident at about 35th Street on 94 eastbound. This one is out of traffic on the right, but it's enough to make for some big delays.